talk's gonna be hard to beat, but listen, I'm just a simple parent. My family moved here from Jacksonville, Florida in 1991. And my wife and I were, just like anybody else coming in a new community, wondering, where should we live, where are we going to school. We didn't know anything about two school systems or anything like that. We were just looking. Give you a little history. I grew up in Nashville, Georgia. I'm not going to tell you when because it was a long time ago. But back in those days when I was in elementary school, Nashville High School used to play Valdosta in football every year. And it was usually a bloodletting. We'd come over here, and I can remember I can remember one night we were riding back to Nashville, and we got through. I think Valdosta beat us. I think this was 1957, believe it or not, man. And we got beat like 57-6, and we were going home. And back in those days, we kind of caravanned, and everybody was blowing the horn and all this stuff, And I'm a little, 6 or 7 year old kid wondering, asking my father, Dad, we just got beat. Why is everybody blowing the horn and all that stuff? And he said, you don't understand, son. We scored on Valdosta. That was a big deal. That was something. But so then we moved away. We moved away from Nashville and got away. But I always kept the Wildcat name in my head. And when we had a chance, my wife and I had a chance to move to Valdosta from Jacksonville, through a company deal, and I apologize to the academia. I had 3 boys, and I wanted my kids to play football for the Wildcats. I mean, they all love sports. I love sports, and I wanted them to play football or baseball or whatever their sport of choosing was, but I wanted them to play for the Wildcats because that's what I knew. Now, I didn't know anything about Lowndes, and I'm not making a asparage, but I just didn't know anything about that. So we came here. And my company assigned us, moving package, my company assigned us a realtor to contact here, and I contacted him, and, we were, where you want, what are you looking for? And I said, well, we're the Wildcats. And he said, well, that would be the city school system. I said, well, show me, that's where I want my kids to go to school. And he said, no. Now, this was 20 years ago. I'm sure this doesn't happen now. But he said, no, you don't want to go to the city school system. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, that's where the blacks go. And I said, I say that because we just saw an article in the paper about a week ago. And like I say, I'm sure that doesn't happen now. Because now we got computers, we can go on and all this stuff and decide where you want to go. But that's a fact. That's a fact. I got the guy that told me that, bless his soul, he's with the Lord now. He's dead. So, but that happened to us. And again, I asked him, I said, well, where does Valdosta Wildcats? He said, that's the city school. I said, show me a house in the city. And we moved, and all 3 of my boys played football with Valdosta. And, the only other thing I got to say about academics is we used athletics to motivate our kids to play sports, because if you don't play, you don't have the grades, those coaches aren't going to let you play.
Absolutely.
And that was the biggest thing I had in my back pocket. When you're dealing with a teenager, I talk to him all day long, and he look at me like I'm crazy. But when that coach says, son, you don't do this, you're not going to play Friday night, that means something to him. That spoke to him, and so I had those in my pocket. And I'll finish by saying this. I had 3 boys. All 3 of them have a master's degree at different colleges. 2 of them are teachers in the Valdosta City School System out here now at the high school. And 2 are still working on their education. They both have their, what's the next level after you master your education specialist, and one of them is now enrolled in his, the baby is now enrolled in his, trying to get his PhD while he's still teaching. So I guess somewhere along the line they got a pretty good basic education. We always have believed in the Valdosta City School System for not only sport but for the academics, because I'm living proof. Those boys needed help and they got it right here. Thank you very much.